Let's review now how to import a project into your tablet. Usually this is done if you have a PS1000. What I usually do with my PS1000 is I take a USB and SD card converter and plug in a USB into the tablet side, and it will be able to read whatever projects you have from your PS1000 on that USB stick, and you'll be able to import it. We're going to go over that in a second. The other way is if you do have the cable that connects the unit to the tablet. This is specifically if you have the PS300, the ferroscan. That's the most common way that I would connect it to the tablet, and it'll read that as well, and you'll see that connection over here in one of these icons. But right now you can tell that I have my USB inserted. If you had it connected by cable, it would be over here. So just keep that in mind. If you need help with that, leave that in the comments or contact Tilty, but it's as simple as that. Put your scans on a USB or connect it by cable. Once that's done, once that's connected, you can go over to projects, and you're going to see obviously the list of projects that are on your tablet already. But when we're going to import, you'll notice that this import button is able to be selected. If nothing was connected, if you didn't have a USB or nothing connected, this would be grayed out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and import, and it asks automatically the type of import you want to do, and the only option for me right now is from USB stick. So I'll go ahead and click USB stick, and what you can see on my USB stick, I have one project. I have a project called test. Now if I wanted to, I could click this whole project like over here and press OK, and it will import everything from that project, which I usually do, by the way. I usually do that. But if you only had a few scans you wanted to import to try out, you could, if you wanted to, click on this project, and it'll open up all the scans within that project. And if you only needed to import one or two of the scans, you can actually click individually the ones you want to import and press OK, and it'll bring only those ones over. But for what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and import all of them. I could have selected this select all button as well, and I'll go ahead and say OK. Now if you do decide to import individual scans like you just saw me do, you have to indicate on the tablet where you want those scans to go. So I would take those two scans that I selected, and I would click one of these projects to put it into so I can access it. But because I want to be a little bit cleaner, I'm going to go ahead and cancel that and go back, and I'm going to import this project as a whole project on its own so I can see this project name on my project list. And so here you can see it says test, and now it's its own individual project, and I can now work with it. Now let's say that you had individual scans like you just saw me have that I wanted to import into a project. You could, if you wanted to, make a new project all on its own, call it whatever you want, and import to that new project. So I could have called this one import test, and you'll see it's there waiting for me. So once you have your projects imported in the way you want, you can also, before you go forward, edit any additional info you need to. So for instance, let's say you have some projects on here that are taking up space or getting in the way that you don't need. You could, if you wanted to, drag this bar over and delete it or edit it, however you need to. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this one because it has nothing in it. And now you can see I cleaned it up a little bit. Now let's do another example. Let's say that I need to move some scans from one project to another. That's pretty simple. You simply go into the project. When all the scans pull up, you find the scan that you need to move. So let's say I want to move this floor heating 2 job somewhere. So I'll go ahead and drag over. This is your move button. And I'm going to tell it to move it to test. And it's going to warn me, and I'm going to say, yes, please move it to the test folder. And now it's gone from this project. So I'll go back, and I'll go back into test, and it's right here now. If for whatever reason you needed to export any of this data or any of these projects, you simply click on the export button and you click on the project you want to export. So let's say I want to take these 6 files from the ferroscan and I want to export that to my USB. I'll press OK, and it's going to export it to my USB so that I can put that on another device, whether the PC software or the software on the tablet. You can also do that for individual scans. If I go into a project, I can export individual scans as well by just clicking on the ones I want to export and putting them onto my device, and those individual scans will now be available on my USB device as well. So I hope that's sufficient for you to understand this section. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments or go ahead and call your Hilti representative.